of the guys to the south is down. Two guys down. For the third. Third down, got killed by a fourth. Welcome back, my dear friends, throughout the universe. In this video, we are going to talk about the newly released early access game Squad, which is for you who have played the Project Reality mod for Battlefield 2, pretty reminiscent of that. There are a couple of devs, or maybe every dev, I'm not entirely sure, that have worked on Project Reality mod and that is working on Squad right now. Squad is a really interesting one. If you want to pick an example of what the game feels like at the moment, it's somewhere between or around Arma 3 and Battlefield 4 in terms of how the game feels and handles. That example and the gameplay should give you a pretty accurate example of what to expect in terms of raw gameplay, but there is a reason why I get stuck playing this game for hours, and that's because of the beautiful word, and one of my favorite words, immersion. Probably one of the biggest keywords I have in all of the videos where I talk about a game and how important that is and how I feel it is. Games can be immersive in many different ways. I'd say Call of Duty and its multiple installments has its own kind of immersions for making it feel more arcadey and letting you get lost in that score hunting. Hunting for score can be a hell of a satisfying thing to do once you master it, but for me that's been kind of done. It's something that I've probably spent about 85% of my overall game time in multiplayer shooters doing. And sure, there is an element of that in Squad as well, but there are other factors that weighs heavier for me than just straight up score hunting. And the heaviest one by far is the immersion aspect of Squad. Helping out your teammates, coming up with tactics, flanks, and tricking your enemy into moving your entire team further up by successfully pushing them away and capping the next point, or simply defending a point while your team caps the next one. That's basically what you do, and it's very, very satisfying. I've never played a game where the team play holds greater value, and where it's actually pretty common for people to play for the team. So I'm gonna give you the gist of a standard game of Squad and what it should be if everything goes as it should. Once you are on a server, there are different squads to choose from. Normally I've noticed that they are pretty much divided by which language people want to talk in that squad with each other. Once you find a squad that is to your preferences, you choose a class like medic or sniper or a couple of different choices of normal infantry soldiers, and that's where the immersion starts. Sorry, man. I was just walking, checking the map.
No, we have one solo already. Imperi, all the way in the train rail docks.
Yeah, well.
So, Nix is lead.
Alright, yeah. Let's go look at the map. We're going to the position of squad number 2. Attacking the flag.
Roger. Good work. Good work, guys. Good work.
Alright. So we was talking with the other squad leaders. We are going to get to the north and help our squad 1 attack the castle. So everyone rally on me. Squad 2 is staying here and defending the area.
Yeah, wait up, I'll heal someone.
Alright guys, let's go.
There's always someone who is the squad leader in every squad, and that person can talk to all the other squads. He's the link between making your moves and the entire team's moves work. He can also place out spawn points where only you and your squad can spawn from. Once everyone have spawned in, it's the squad leader's job to get everyone in the squad to focus at the same target. The squad leaders together generally decide which squad should attack and which should defend. Once this train is set in motion and it works efficiently to at least some degree, that's when you get really immersed, if you let yourself be so, and not let it frighten you. I have to say, the first matches I played I was thinking, oh, everyone is a pro at this, and I have no idea what I'm doing. But once I started to just talk, use the map, plan my actions and course, give information about where the enemies were at and coming from. It all just came together. It's way simpler than it might first appear, if you just allow yourself to try. It's quite realistic in terms of the damage model and how the gunplay works, but it's far simpler in terms of controls than armor, for example. And the way the game is designed, it really creates a community that tries. I've only had about one game so far where the only one who talked were kids fooling around. A tip is to change squads and teams until you find a squad that is doing it the way that you want it to be done. The UI is not cluttered with markers and information about absolute everything, and that's a good thing. This game thrives because of the immersion it sells you, and the very minimalistic UI is a very good but simple way to keep you in that immersion. The way the developers have designed the sound and graphics for this game, it really feels when you get shot or just get shot at. It's scary, and you know that if they hit you, that's a major blow, or maybe even a fatal blow, especially if you don't have a medic pretty close to where you're at. Squad is just one of those games where the leap of really getting into the gameplay is a bit tougher to do than most of the games released nowadays, but if you take that leap, it's just so much more rewarding. The game is pretty stable at the moment, even though the game is still in alpha and early access on Steam. I'd still recommend it to anyone that wants a game that is more than just log into a server, frag, and get to the top of the scoreboard. Try this game out if you think that sounds interesting. It's simple in its complexity, and if you allow yourself to get immersed, you can get lost for hours at a time. I have high hopes for this game, and I know I will follow the development for it to see where it ends up. Have you tried it out? What do you think based on the footage and what we've talked about today? Let me know in the comments below. Leave a like and a share if you enjoyed, and until next time, bye. Nice.
Good
work.
Good job,
Yeah.
guys.
It were 2 kills.
Bye bye, nice to play with you.